I definitely don't mind the like the back and forth banner, but it bothers the hell out of me that they pretty much can attack everybody to the fullest malice that they can muster. And then the second there's some criticism about it, they want to cry and whine and act like they some kind of victim. And people didn't always used to be like that. I don't understand where the hell that's coming from. I don't have any power to change anything. I'm just feeble and weak. I have no choice but to do whatever life tells me. I have no control over anything that happens, any outcomes. And the way I grew up, that was the exact opposite. It was always about, you know, the worse your circumstances are, when you overcome them, you got a hell of a story to tell people, that triumph, that hero's journey, basically. But I'm going to go into the whole math reaction. This is something that I saw on Twitter, X, but I thought it was pretty interesting. His perspective, he's always got some good insight on, I guess it mostly revolves around dating, but realistically, it's more to do with like behavior. So I'm going to check that out real quick. Let's go into it. Okay. This is pretty much what it says. Psst. Psst, kids. Want to understand politics? Women are born with a sense of justice that is optimized for dealing with other women and with children. Men are optimized for dealing with other men. Okay, makes sense. No controversy there so far. I have no problem with that statement. Being a man has been illegal for 3 generations. More than that, man. Being in masculinity is, they're trying to stomp that out. And that's kind of the worst part to me. Like, it's almost like your kids are trying to bully you. And that's such an insult because of the sheer power difference. But men are dealt to deal with things physically, and women are dealt be able to do it verbally. Like, what did Chris Rock say? Oh no, that was Eddie Murphy Raw. When men hear all that, why are you gonna tell me where I'm going? I go where I want. My father don't even ask where I go. Okay. And like, yeah, we're not really built to handle that. And the other bad part is we're totally built on logical thinking, calculating, being strategic, and they're all on feelings. So no matter how much information and logic you present to them, if they know of one story of something that opposes it, that's going to debunk all the scientific study that you have. And that's very frustrating. It is almost like trying to reason with the child. Being a man has been illegal for 3 generations for some mysterious reason. So women have grown up watching men not be men, which drives them insane. This causes fatherless behavior. Dad not there, so I can do what I want. And I agree with that, but the thing that makes it so bad is they're the ones who are continuing the cycle. Like, if we understand having a man in the life of either child, boy or girl, is going to make them more productive, why would you want to do it by yourself? Especially if you have a boy son, a child, male son. You don't have the tools to make him be what he needs to be. So eventually the market's going to get flooded with inferior people. So what is the cause of this? I understand it sucks to hear people say bad things about you, but my entire life, men have been bashed and we've had to take it on the chin. The second you say anything about a woman, they cry and quiver and gotta like psych themselves up. Oh, I'm strong and independent. I'm strong and independent. You don't know the struggle. Are you serious? I don't know the struggle. I don't have titties, so I can't walk around and make it be easy. Do you understand the struggle of, if you're not the correct height or don't have the correct income, you're pretty much invisible to the world? But I guess that doesn't matter because it's not you, right? Okay. Care about my situation. Well, okay, well, what about us? No, why you stop focusing on me? This is why liberal and maladjusted plus emotionally neglected women do not see all the adult males as men. They don't know what a man means outside of male who gives me a special tingle. And I understand that, and I mean I agree with that, and I say the same thing for men. Like, if they don't necessarily fit our requirements, they talk too much, or they're just into weird, crazy stuff, or don't fit the weight requirement, they're invisible to us the same way. So that's fair. But I think the difference is that men are kind of willing to give a little bit. Shoot. What did I hear? We have a range and women have a preference. Meaning, and I think this is true for at least most of the males that I know and most of the males I've seen. As long as the girl is pleasant, pretty, and like makes your life easier, I don't think any guy really cares what race of woman it is. You fucking and you nice, boom, I'll marry you. Latina, Vietnamese, Korean, American, white, black. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's the behavior that we're looking for. And women, like, pretty much they date a dude with a do-rag. Every dude you ever going to see him with is going to have a do-rag on. They can't break the mold. So I think with being able, as a male, being able to go through such a different range, you have a much better shot of getting the particular behavior and needs that you want met. Versus, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you just keep going for dudes with do-rags, they're going to have a lot of traits in common. So you're pretty much picking the same person over and over again. Seems kind of crazy. Okay. So when they look at adult males and they don't feel a tingle, that's a child. They see you as children and they love to say so. And that is very true. You're a little tiny man. You're a little boy. They love to try and say that, but I mean, I guess that would hurt, but the second you get up and try and wag your finger in a guy's face, like, you kind of turn into that to them. I don't have to listen to you because you're a little boy to me. Well, the second I hear I'm a little boy, you're kind of discredited. So, well, it's a Mexican standoff. We've X'd each other out. So if my opinion isn't valid, what makes you think your opinion's so valid? That's really weird to me. You have a very high sense of self-worth that's not true because you have to pump yourself up with these cliches. Okay. And when the female brain assumes that it's in charge of a child, and it does. Bubble in your mouth. If y'all remember that from the Kamala Harris rally, the white girls or whatever, white men for Harris, put a bubble in your mouth and be quiet. Like she's a kindergarten teacher. It's a grown woman talking to grown adult men and women, I guess. Like, what happened to the days of don't make me take you outside? Like, don't talk to me like you know me like that. What happened to that? All these weak people want to make a weak world. Yeah, I don't agree with that. That's why when they give you all your shit away and laugh at your suffering, they think that you're being fair to the other children and forcing you to share will make you learn your lesson. Kind of true. They do seem to be, I guess what you call it, Karens. Back in my day, it was just white people. But pretty much the people that think they have the authority over, like, the moral police, they pretty much can just come out of their house and talk to you any kind of way. I think this is right, so you need to think it's right too. Those type of people. And I feel sorry for women because sooner or later, dudes are not going to go for this. And it's going to... You're fighting a battle that you're not going to be able to win. Like, eventually, if all you're going to do is talk, you're not going to win that way. Wars aren't won that way. Wars are won with violence. Their brain also assumes that there's an infinite pool of resources that will never go away. That is true Santism. That's because getting resources is a male thing and sharing resources is a female child thing. You may be familiar with the common male-female argument, let's spend less for the future versus let's spend more for comfort. Yeah, that sounds about right. And that is like a child mentality. I hate to say, throwing stuff in the grocery cart. Like, it's not your money. You're not paying for it. So you don't care how it gets paid for. You just want what you want. But I think that's a very selfish trait. First off, to think you're better than everybody, to be an authority to tell them how to live, think, talk, speak, act. Number two, what the hell is this? Oh yeah, spending other people's money. Yeah, these aren't really good qualities. And I understand women are going to try and hide behind misogyny, but it has nothing to do with misogyny. It has to do with like a bad character trait. You go out there and work, and I'll decide how to spend all the money. Isn't that almost like the same complaint that the employees have about their boss? Except the male would be the employee and you would be the boss. You're spending money on things that aren't benefiting me, and I'm supposed to be smiling about it. What do you mean future? Just spend infinity now and then spend infinity again later. Yeah, that sounds about right. Whole math is on one. Did you know that where your food comes from? What about your clothes? Can you imagine how much work it took to make everything you have? Now imagine that you can't understand this at all. You just get TV static in your brain. But we have enough for the whole world. We just solve hunger and then tax Elon Musk. That's how liberal, insufficiently developed humans think. Elon Musk is just a child who is hogging all the snacks, and not a man who provides unless they want to have sex with him. Nah, that's a good point. But they loved Elon. And so this is my big thing. What kind of friends or allies are these that the second you do something they don't like, they start burning everything? Do you really want to be associated with these people in the first place? I mean, really, like, what's this saying? With friends like these, who needs enemies? I mean, come on. As of 18 months ago or whatever, Elon was Tulsi Gabbard. All I want to poster childs for Democrats. Everybody, get a Tesla. I can't believe we need to get rid of gas cars. You're polluting the environment. Now they're burning them. They committing hate crimes. I forgot about that. I saw what the people keying Teslas is popular, set them on fire and keying them. So somebody keyed a swastika into a Tesla. Just so happens the owner was Jewish. Oh my God, talk about the guilt that I would have. So he went from like vandalism to a hate crime, a mandatory minimum. These people are insane. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be associated with this. And I think that's where we're getting us divide from. We just don't think alike. And I think men have, for a long time, have been willing to compromise with people who aren't willing to compromise. And we keep backing up. And at a certain point, like, you're being cruel to yourself by trying to be nice to somebody else. And I guess men can logically understand that. And for some reason, women can't, because we're not saying they don't contribute. They like to always go to these extremes when they say a word they don't like or puts them in a light that isn't always glamorous. But realistically, even if women are working in infrastructure jobs like electricity, building roads and things, how much of a percentage is that? Like, realistically, men keep the sewers going, water going, electricity, Wi-Fi. So all this effort, and people want to throw the money away. Why do you want to cut the funding to Palestine? Why you want to cut what was it? Iranian Sesame Street? Like, what the heck, man? I don't climb up phone poles to give my money to strangers. And these are the same people who want to give your money away because now they've got a name to donate the money to, are the same people that'll step over the homeless people in their immediate area. Oh my goodness. Let me keep going. Liberal, demented and neurologically atrophied, okay. Demented and neurologically atrophied women perceive man as make me horny and not as provider and protector. That's why you see the entire planet as one entire daycare. And the rules of a daycare are take care of your children equally. That is very true. They always go, no wonder they go for this communism, like we all need to get along. No, why do we have to get along? I don't have a right to not like something. I mean, to talk about being oppressed, you sure do want to oppress me. That's why everything is in chaos. And that's more why we vote even harder left and more chaos it gets. The solution is share harder. They just can't understand why you won't play nice with the billion retards from hell who would murder you for a Slim Jim. As I was saying about the Teslas. Yeah, these are all projections. I think everything I've ever thought about in my life that they try to restrict from us, I now understand because of social media and all this Trump deranged syndrome that this is what they would do to me. The reason they wanted to ban guns is because they want to shoot me, not the other way around. We want to hunt. We want to hunt. We want to hunt. Seems kind of true. I don't remember too many people who said they wanted to hunt killing people, but sticking your finger up your butt and wiping it on a Tesla door handle is how these people carry it. Like, these are some demented people. Yeah, why you won't play nice? They're just babies after all. And if you give more love from mommy, then you'll grow up nice. Yeah, you can't talk your way into things. You have to commit action to get things done. There is no real world of them. It's just one big high school, and you're just another student, unless you give them the tingles. And when you're not playing nice, they tell the teacher, yes, they want to get the government to enforce the. What's this? The video game shit. Is it Ubisoft who's trying to work with the Canadian government to silence people? They'll sue them if they talk negatively about the game. They call it harassment. It's harassing you to say you did a bad job? Really? I had to deal with your bad job. I don't get to say anything about this? I should be suing you for harassment. Harassing my eyes with these horrible video games. Okay. And you will never ever reach a single one of them with logic or reason because virtually no one ever knows what those are. And everyone who does is either one, not liberal, or two, a psychopath playing liberals like puppets, which I would say is the politicians doing that. Most people think logic, reason, rationality, and science mean when my feelings are correct. Boom. Mike, I need a Don DeMarco right there. He's absolutely right. When you agree with me, it's free speech. When you disagree with me, it's hate speech. If you want all these insane, mentally destroyed leftist women to act normal again, the only way to do it is to make them respect you as a man, which means providing something she can't get better or else or easier otherwise. And we all are having a really hard time providing much for some mysterious reason. Yeah, the pandemic, all that shipping jobs. These people want to destroy America, and then they're mad at us. They want us to, you have to pander harder, damn it. We've got to pander harder. And as much as I'm not trying to make it a bash women thing, I really don't want to do that because it's really all behavior traits. But it does seem to be a group of people we can generalize and, give a name to. And I understand that we think differently, and I understand the reason why we think differently. Like, men were biologically trained to be out for a long time alone, isolated, so we don't need to talk. Women, while we were off hunting, had to all live together to kind of, everybody's trying to make up for having no man there, having to raise kids. It takes a village, as they say. In order, when your back's turned from doing laundry, I guess washing your garments on the rocks in the river, Your kids is off playing with someone else's kids. If y'all have beef, there's no telling what might happen to your kid when you're not there. The nicer you are to the person supervising your kid, probably the better care they're going to get. So I understand the reason of being able to vocalize things, having a lot of words, but also having this we got to get along mentality. But why is it only geared towards women and children that we have to get along and all this care is done to men? That's a lot of vitriol and violence, and chicks want to choke you and beat you, and men are predators. We're like, why is that? I don't believe that's true. I think everything that has been said about us is projection, and women know they're the predators, and they're just thinking, hey, we must be the same way. And they don't realize, no, we think totally different. Prime example, and I've used this reference time and time again, and I think it's the very best one. If you look at the prison system, however you want to feel about that, but male prison, what happens to child molesters, women beaters, rapers? Yeah, it ain't really a good time for them. You have to check in, basically go into protective custody, PC, and be like an isolation ward. If you try and stay in general population or G-pop, it's going to be rough on you. Women, on the other hand, in their side of the prison, they'll all be sitting dinner. Like, you got a shoplifter, you got I don't know, I guess somebody who's shoplifted with a higher Grand Theft Auto, let's say, sitting next to a woman who's like drowned her 2 babies in the bathtub, and they're all having a conversation like it's cool, like she's got something to learn from this kid murderer. It ain't no hard time for this lady who murdered kids. So women, to their own detriment, they're going to use this we all need to get along kumbaya mentality. And men are realizing, yeah, he ain't one of us. He's putting us all in jeopardy. Something got to happen to him to teach him a lesson. So that right there kind of shows the difference, and I don't know why that's not recognized. To take it off of women, there's a group of people in charge who basically want to manipulate people. As the whole math thing was talking about, like these puppet masters, these psychopaths who are willing to puppeteer these insane neurological atrophy people. And quite honestly, that's sad. You got like the blind leading the blind in a way, so to speak. And I feel so bad for any of that. That's not cool. You shouldn't ever try and manipulate people. You treat people nice because you don't ever want anybody to treat you unkind or not nice. You don't manipulate people because you wouldn't want anybody to try and manipulate you. You literally do have to treat people the way that you want to be treated. And if it doesn't work out in your favor, I mean, it's not going to work for everybody. It's not a skeleton key. The people it doesn't work on, if kindness isn't their thing, that's not their currency, step away from them. So you play a big part in the things that go on in your life. Now you definitely want to, kind of take action. You can't sit there and just these different behaviors. Like, I try not to pick on people, but I do need to bring everybody in and also kind of give everybody a collective group, generalize, so we got a name for a target, as I say, who we're talking about. And seems to me like the women in here are the ones who have the agenda or are pushing the agenda and trying to, I guess, force reality to be something that it's not. And, from Whole Math, he's seeing it in his sector. I guess he's more like red pill content, as they say, like how to not simp for women and see them what they are, see them for what they are. And then Akalan in the video game side of it, that there's a lot of people in there. And I'm going to try and tie this into Kathleen Kennedy. I know this would be anecdotal, but I always think of that Steven Spielberg interview where he was like, Kathleen Kennedy was good with interrupting. And she was like, for Indiana Jones, hey, instead of saving the girl, why doesn't he save the dog? And those type of interjection, which is dumb. But I mean, I'm sure Kathleen Kennedy felt slighted, like they just didn't listen to me because I'm a girl, versus like trying to admit that was a dumb idea. So that's the reason that I tried to show that and hopefully tie all these threads together that I've been showing.